Good morning. I feel sorry for those who don't know the I agree with you. Someone else told me last night, it's the first time in their life they say, but she told me she says every day. Beautiful. I don't need to give her a skuma to King David, but he certainly wrote a great book. Okay. Good morning. Thank you for making this happen. Out of Yom Tov. You should thank me to get away from your work. I certainly appreciate it. We spoke last week, for those of you who are here, remember, very general hashkafa on life, bechila, free will. And we put it into the Shashuna that's what we should be choosing, correct? Choose life versus death. I hope you didn't make you crazy all week. Every step you wanted to do, like getting out of bed, animal, human, people get tend to have those for them alliance, you just get out of bed. That's silly fight. So that was general Chaim. I want to more speak specific today, about what we do under Rosh Hashanah. And I don't mean square auction, because I don't know myself. My kids, by the sea, that's always fun every year, but they say, whatever that means. We just have to say something on the, what? I'm open. So, I want to talk about the Rosh Hashanah davening, the Malchus, the Chron Shofar. So we spoke about Malchus somewhat in the first year in Elul. I want to speak more about what the shofar is and Zichronis. I don't know how many of you know what Zichronis is. That's the one that usually gets lost. Do you agree? We speak about being Mamlech Daibishter a lot. We speak a lot about that. Shofar, I hope you know what the shofar is. But Zichronis is something which usually gets a little, falls through the cracks. What does it mean, the simple pshat, Zichronis? Simple translation. That's good. That's the translation memories, and therefore, what are we doing? Reminders more than memorial. Memorial long. Okay. So, as if we're saying, Hashem was a Yom Adin, Hashem looks at us, and Hashem's or maybe say on someone, this person, I don't know, you deserve a good year. So we tell Hashem, oh, what do you mean? My great-great-great-grandfather 4,500 years ago did a good deed. Shouldn't I deserve a good year? And Hashem says, oh, you're right. Thank you for reminding me. Is that what Zichron is? I mean, I just spelled it out, so it doesn't sound good. What then would it mean? You're reminding Hashem the good deeds of the past.
You're asking for the
So I'll be very honest with you. I don't know what Skosavas means. Now, no. No, I want to say is, Mr. Hashem, today you'll see if we get to everything. When I usually make fun of something, it's because I have a better pshat, okay? And Mr. Hashem will take a few famous Midrashim. We're going to laugh about them because I'll explain. I'm not making fun of Skosavas. I'm really not. And no, I would if I'd have a pshat. I'm just being very honest. And Mr. Hashem, I want to give a share on it one day. I don't know what it means. Do you have what bothers me? I mean, what bothers you, Skosavas?
We had a went out of the way, did something usually you wouldn't be able to do that.
And therefore, you should get credit for it. Tell me why. And if you wouldn't be an ancestor, so with those who say, like, are they better off than not Rabbi Shanikul?
I would say no.
Well, then, if that's your case, then I shouldn't ask all the questions now because I don't have an answer yet. So, I need to work on it. I don't want to waste time now on the questions on Skosovas, but I want to ask I only said it because if you're saying pshat in Zichronis is the schis of Avram Avinu, I have an issue with that. Do you get my problem? How much could we use that schis? And does Hashem need reminding? Do we need to jog his memory that he did something for us 4,500 years ago? And if that schis of our character is still around 4,500 years, then we're good. Nobody has to ever go through any Yom Adin, or nobody has to have any tzuras or nisyonis because we have an akaita on our backpack.
Not for it is for us.
That what? What's it got to do with Chironos?
I'm connected.
To what? Anyway, once you start going into the real pshat, then that's my job. So I want to speak about that, and mitzvah, see how well this goes. Let's first look at the shofar itself. Can I ask you for a piece of paper, please? Only because it's okay. Only because I did this last week too many times, and it can either take 20 minutes or 3 minutes. And your basic understanding. So I'm going to take you into like Kolal style just for 3 minutes. Okay? Don't worry. You know, it might be too much learning, but we'll get back to Hashkafa. The Gemara asks a question. Gemara in Rosh Hashanah. Omer Rabbi Yitzchak, Loma Toikin Rosh Hashanah. The Gemara asks a question. Why do we blow shofar on Rosh Hashanah? Lama Toikin. Why do we blow shofar? Says the Gemara, Lama Toikin. Why do we blow? Rachmana Oma Tiki. Because Hashem said, Tiki B'chodesh shofar. Hashem says, blow shofar. That's why we blow. So he says, the Gemara says, no, I didn't mean to ask the question why we blow shofar at all. My question is, why do we blow so much? How many shofar sounds do we hear over Rosh Hashanah? 100. Why is that a lot? Because how many are you supposed to? How do you get to the number 30? Everyone says that's okay. Do you agree at least? Yeah, the women that go to see like for Tekiah shofar, just for the Tekiah shofar moment, it's only 30. So so the question is, why do we blow 100 tekiyas? Why do we blow 100 sounds? Why shouldn't we blow only 30 is your question. My question to you is, where do you come to number 30? So if you would take out a chumash and simply open up a chumash and ask yourself, what am I supposed to do today? What does it say in the Torah about blowing shofar? The 7th month, not July. Tishrei, the 1st of Tishrei. Yom Terio Hiu Lochem. What does that mean? Translate. Yom Terio or Chura. What does that mean? About blowing. Everyone did a bad mood, no blues. Yom Terio. So I would suggest in the 15th of Nisan it says Yom Matzah, you the Kazas Matzah, you Yotze. So if it says Yom Terio, you're going to blow shofar today. How many are you supposed to blow? When you get to 30. If you open up the Chumash and it says Yom Terio, you eat one Kazayas Matzah, and you, by the way, Shakl and Dalet Minim. Do you know that? Look, does anyone know why you turn over the esrog when you make the bracha? You should know something. It'd be good if we learn something, why we do things. Why do you turn over the esrog? Because we think we need to shake it all, shake for 3 hours straight. The Lushna Pasuk is, you should take the Dalet Minim. Once you took it, you really yotze, you can put it down. But I want to make the bracha. So if you take it upside down, you're not yotze. So you make the bracha, and once you turn it over, you're ready yotze, you can put it down. Strictly biblically speaking, you look after lechem, take the Dalet Minim. As soon as you took it, you yotze, you put it down. You eat a kazayas matzah, you yotze. You blow one shofar sound, you yotze. So as I said, I'm just going to write it down just to make it easier for you. Let's grab a whiteboard. That'd be cool. No, I'm kidding. So again, if you would translate the word Yom Terio, you're going to have one shofar sound, which is the sound of Terio, right? Blow Terio. So the Gemara says as follows: that never in the Beis Hamikdash would they only blow. And many times they'll blow shofar, not just Rosh Hashanah. But every carbon, Yom Tov, they'll blow shofar. Never would they blow the Terio sound on its own. It always comes with a tekiah before, and a tekiah after. So although, yes, the Torah says Yom Terio, you would think it's just the Terio, but Terio is never a solo. It comes with the tekiah before and the tekiah after. Get it? So therefore, the sound, she'll get a little more complicated, that's why I need a paper. When the Torah says Yom Terio, you would say it means this, right? Says a Gemara, no, it has to be a tekiah before and a tekiah after, so it's this. Get it? Now, this is where it gets a little complicated. When the Torah says the word terio, the question is, what does terio mean? Now, like everything in the Gemara, there's going to be a machlokes. There's going to be an argument. Never take a word in the Torah and I'm only going to say, yes, it means this. What does this terio sound like? Does it sound like what we call terio? Or does it sound like what we call shivurim? You get that? Some machlokes in Gemara. Or there's a third option. What could be a third option? Following, when it says terio, either means what we call terio, or what we call shivurim. There's a third option in Gemara. Or both. Or both. So what do you do when you have a machlokes or two? Usually, as I said, anything in the Torah, there's a machlokes in Gemara about it. Potatoes, is it tuaduma or shahakol? Mezuzah. Is a mezuzah supposed to be horizontal or vertical? Machlokes. Everything is going to be machlokes in Shas. What's always the next word in Gemara? Once there's a machlokes. I know you don't know too much Gemara, but those of you who know. I mean, simple. What do you think the Gemara's word line is after there's a machlokes? In the Paskin, very good. But in the Paskin, the Paskin, okay? So according to Huda Paskin, when you have terio means terio, does it mean shivurim or does it mean both? We do them all. We do them all. Now, but what does all mean? As I said before, the terio is never solo. It comes with the tekiah before and the tekiah after. So we do a tekiah, shivurim, terio, tekiah. Get it? And we do a tekiah, shivurim, and tekiah. And tekiah.
Combination.
That's right. So again, it's very important to have the build-up of this because we're not done. When the Torah says Yom Terio, you would have translated it as one. Once you understand that it comes together, it must be three. Now, no, we do all 10. You get it? By now we're up to 10, yeah? One, yeah? You were clear? 3 plus 3 plus 4 is 10. Now, nowhere in Shas do we do that when there's a machlokes. Shouldn't we have 2 mezuzahs on the doorpost? One vertical, one horizontal? Because there's a machlokes, let's do both. We don't do that. And then it goes one step further because there's a concept of malchius, zechronos, and shofris, which means we should be mamlech Hashem, or whatever it means, there's a chronos. The Gemara says each one of them comes with a shofar blast. So for each one, we do all 10. It would have been easier, because the chronos will go according to just the shiburim, the malchius will do just the terio. We do all 10 for malchius, zechronos, shofar. Is you following? Yeah, we cleared that last line? We're done with koil. We're done with koil now. So here's the Gemara's question. The Gemara's question is much deeper than you're thinking. Not just why do we blow 100 tekiyas. The Gemara's question is as follows. The Torah says Yom Terio. If you open up a pasuk, you would come to the conclusion it means this. Terio, one sound. No, it doesn't mean 1. It means 3. Not 3. We have to do 10. So we pushed it from 1 to 3 to 10 to 50. We've reached the highest level of machmir, ultra-Orthodox, Naturakat. I mean, we've reached the highest level of Mahadrim and Mahadrin in this halakha. Yet still, we're still blowing till 100. That's a good discussion. So it's not like it's 30, as you said, and then why it should be 30, why not 100? Why do we do 100? Even 30 is the highest level of chimra you could think of. You go to shul and you hear 1 sound, it would be enough. We have to do 3. Just to be on the safe side, do 10. To cover every Indian, we've covered 30. We're still blowing till 100. You get it? That's the Gemara's kasha. Why do you blow so much? To that, the Gemara answers the strangest line you've ever heard growing up about Rosh Hashanah. And as I said before, I might make fun of certain things we brought up with only because I have a pshat, okay? It's the strangest line you've heard. You heard it when you were 2 years old, it meant absolutely nothing to you. When you heard it when you were 3, it was chazar. By the time you heard it when you were 6, you heard it 4 times already. And then it became part of your life, so you never stopped to ask yourself, does that really make sense? Okay, was that a good enough intro to know what am I talking about? What do you think? What's the strangest line over this? There's a lot of strange lines over this issue. What's the strangest concept? Famishon the Sutton. To confuse the Sutton. Have you ever stopped to think, does that make sense? Now, seriously, how can you confuse the Sutton? It's a malach. How can you confuse it? Not just it's a malach. At a certain point, he's going to pick up on our tricks. No? For 3,500 years, we've been fooling him with the same trick. He never chapped. It's like this Adam Rosh Hashanah thingy, right?
It's not letting him do what he wants to do.
But why not? Why not? What exactly is because of Yom Teruah is supposed to be 1 or 30, and this is confusing him, like Erev Rosh Hashanah. Okay, we don't blow the shofar Erev Rosh Hashanah, so he thinks it's over, he missed it. And he goes to sleep. And the next day, after the Hashanah, it's like, you missed it, it was yesterday. Where was I? At a certain point, you should know that when you hear shofar every day, then one day there's a pause, it means the next day is Rosh Hashanah. No? So how is this confusing him? Simple pshat. Because he looks at the Torah like we do, and he says, Yom Teruah, the day of Rosh Hashanah is the day we should blow shofar once. And he hears in shul 100 sounds, he's thinking, that's not Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah only one Yom Teruah, 1, maybe 10. 100 sounds. It's probably a chassan or something going on. It's not Rosh Hashanah today. And therefore he misses it. At a certain point, he's going to chap. But in shul, when they blow 100 tekias, it means today's the day, right? I hope you asked that question in the past. Okay, if I miss the Sutton. A friend of mine told me that he likes to go to shul on Rosh Hashanah. He gets to shul 11 o'clock. So if I miss the Sutton should think it's a regular Shabbos. You know, the Sutton sees everyone comes to shul 8:30, everyone's there on time. He's like, today's a Thursday. He comes 11 o'clock. You hear the question? How does Famishon the Sutton work? Okay, so I'd like to share with you my 2 cents on this. It comes with a little story I had. I'm not so sure the story. I'll show you in a moment. What I'm about to say. It's a little story I had, and I think this is pshat in Tekiyas. It really is. It was about 15 years ago, and I was in England. I was on a train. I got off the train on a platform in England. And a guy comes over to me and asks, he bagels me. I don't know the term bagel. None of you have heard the word being bageled? You were bageled. You get bageled all the time. You just don't know what bageling means. It's a killer of terminology. It's a killer of terminology. In the secular world, what's the most Jewish thing they think is, well, what do Jews do? Bagels and lox Sunday morning. None of us do that, but you know, if you don't eat bagels and lox Sunday morning, you're not Jewish. Okay, like matzah balls, Friday night. In fact, I once did a big Shabbaton for Friday, big Shabbaton in Muncie. A lot of people came. We entered the hall, and this lady, Friday night, middle of the meal, got up, stormed out in a bad mood. You guys, I knew you guys. You know, you showed you were friendly. I knew I blew your cover. You blew your cover. You know, you tried to be friendly to us. I knew it's going to blow on her. And I ran after, like, what's going on? What's the problem? And she said she didn't get a matzah ball in her soup. And she says she was always suspecting, do we truly accept her the way she is? Because she's secular. But now she sees that she's not firm enough to get a matzah ball. That's why we didn't give her, because she doesn't cover her hair, so I didn't allow her to have a matzah ball. If she would only know how we so don't care about matzah balls. It took me a long time to convince her that it was an honest mistake. You can have 3 matzah balls. Take mine. I won't eat a matzah ball. I'm still kosher Jew. Anyway, so it's bagels and lox. It comes to that word. So when a lady stops you Friday afternoon in Costco and asks you what time is candle lighting, you were bageled. It means she's not really interested in what time candlelighting is. You know, she has the app on her phone. She wants to show her she's Jewish like you are. You've been bageled before? They stop you. What do? We duck, you know, and catch that bagel. They, oh, you're Jewish, nice, where do you live? That's our job. I'm not giving a curious class now. I'm really tempted to explain what you're supposed to do when you're bageled. But it's not today's topic. We get bageled all the time. Alyssa says, really, that stops you, then you were schnitzeled. But it's every time someone says something Jewish, it means they want to show you that they are Jewish, okay? So this guy stops me on the platform in Trinflet and he says, my kids are working with kids, long Hasidic pious, and he asked me, why do the Jews have long side locks? The problem is he wasn't even Jewish. After my 20-minute conversation with him, I asked him if he was Jewish. He wasn't even Jewish, and I was really upset. But for me, I live for those moments. People stop me and ask me questions. So he asked, why do they have these long side locks? Now, does anyone know? I don't know. We're not asked. We're not brought up with the whys. You know? Anyway, so Hashem put a thought in my mind, and this is what I shared with him. I don't know if this is the real chat why we have long past, but it's certainly the chat in when I want to bring out for the Shoshana. I told him as follows. Don't get upset at me till I finish my sentence, by the way, what I'm about to say. I said, are you married? Yeah. I said, well, tell me, friend, when your wife wants something from you, what's the last thing she would do to let you know that she wants it? Ask. Very good. I never said that. But yeah. What would a woman do if they want something from the husband? I don't know. But not ask him directly. I don't know, bad mood for half an hour, and he has to try and figure it out. Now, as I said, don't be upset. I'm not making fun, although it sounds like it. But I said, God does the same. There's a tragedy. Something happens, and we want to know, what's the difference? Well, why don't you just tell me? Tell me. You want something from me? Tell me. We always have that question. What's the difference? Tell me. And the women are correct, and so is the Eibishter. Why doesn't Hashem say clearly what he wants when there's a tragedy? Because if you need to spell it out, I want you to do this. I want you to buy, tomorrow's my birthday. I want you to buy me this. I want you to wrap it in this color wrapping, and I want you to have these amount, X amount of balloons, and this will say on the note. Shkoyach. You know what I mean? Moshel Tovis. I want you to think on your own of me. I'm hoping you're thinking of me. I wish to send out a message. Imagine we'll all get, a text and our beepers, I want everyone to say 10 kapitlach to him every day. Okay? Then you'll be happy. No more tragedies. We'll do it. He doesn't need that. He wants us to think, how could we come closer to him? And if you have to spell it out, you've totally lost it. You just cleaned up the house and the garbage bag is by the door. You want your husband to chap, please take it out. Do I need you to take it out? No. I can do it myself. Have a good. I want you to think, get your hand. Women, you agree? Thank you. That's the Eibishter's also. Don't wait for the Eibishter for Rabbunim to tell you why Hashem is doing it. How could you come close to the Eibishter? I get this question all the time. I could think about myself, but how do I know that's what Hashem wants? It's fine. It's fine. If your husband does something else, although you were thinking of the garbage bag, but he did something else, you're also okay. As long as he's thinking of you. There's no correct things which you have to take upon yourself. Hashem is waking us up and saying, when are you going to come closer to me? And you come up with something, figure it out, how you could come closer to the Eibishter. Okay? So I told this guy, what? Oh, so I'm not saying this is the real shit, it's just like it fell into my mind. But you'll agree with me here. I told him, Hashem doesn't speak clearly. God doesn't speak clearly. He wants us to come closer to him. So he hinted in the Torah, don't shave off with the razor the corner of the head. Don't shave it off. And we say, hey, that's what he likes. Let's go all out and let it grow along. Because he hinted to me that's what he likes. I'll do it all the way. I'm not like, what's the halacha exactly? There's a tshuva from a Moshe. How long that has to be. And the Moshe says that you have to be able to hold the hand. You know what I mean? So is this long enough? Or maybe we should add another 0.5 millimeter. Stop. Hashem says this is what he wants. Let's go out. Let's go all out. Let's do it. I don't know if that's Hashem. That's what I said. Thank you. The Sultan on the Shashuna comes up to Hashem. He doesn't say specifics. Upstairs, there are no specifics, okay? Actually, he doesn't tell Hashem, this lady tied her right shoelace before her left. It's not about pulling out the bone of the fish and shouts. Balatanya speaks about this at length. There's one avodah in the Torah. One, which is your children don't care about you. Okay? They're not interested in you. You gave them mitzvahs to do. And they're rebelling. Your children don't like you. This person, this child, he doesn't care about you. You say you should do things, she doesn't care. She doesn't listen to you. And Hashem says, I don't know what you're talking about. I mentioned the word in the Torah, Yom Tariyu. They're going to ultra level of machmir, 1, 3, 10, 30. They're blowing shofar all day. The guys are going crazy over me. They obviously do love me. That confuses him. And it's not something he could pick up from last year, because it's not a trick. He's trying to tell the Rebbeinu Shalom we don't care about him. And the Rebbeinu Shalom is saying, I don't even mean, look, they're just blowing shofar all day. They obviously do love me. But make sure you don't do that kavuna. You're not like, did I hear all 100? Am I going to Gehenna this year? Am I dying? I didn't hear 100. Or I didn't hear 30. Was I yotze? Stop. Hear one shofar sound, the first one, and say, that was beautiful. Yotze. No, let me do a little more. Let me do 3, just to be sure. But there are shittas, let me do 10. By the time you're up to 20, you're like, I don't know, I'm just blowing more and more and more. I'm just like, guys. Get that? It's a kavuna and shofar. Hashem told me to do it. In fact, when the Gemara asked originally, Loma Tokim Hashem, I don't know if anyone remembers how the whole build-up began. The Gemara asked, why do we blow shofar? What did the Gemara say? Do you remember my first line? That was first a rebuttal, as if, why do you blow? Hashem said, blow. So he said, no, I mean that, why do you blow so much? That's how I went into this whole thing. But some say Pshat in the Gemara is, no, that's the question, and that's the answer. Why do we blow? I don't know, it's strange, but that's the guys. You know what I mean? Hashem says, take a ram's horn, put it in your mouth and blow. Do you know how strange that is? But in real relationships, I don't know what women think of men, but I know what men think of women. You know, like, my wife wants me to do this. Like, how strange. I'm sure you say that too. In relationships, it's like, weird, but I'll do it. So the Gemara begins with, why do we blow shofar? I don't know. Hashem says, take a ram's horn and put it in your mouth and blow. Okay, I'll do it. How many? Oh, he says you have to do. Figure it out. Oh, he likes it. I'll do it. If that's a kavuna, so what Yiddishkeit like that? You're doing it because you have to do it? Is your Yiddishkeit based on I have to do it and don't want to go to Gehenna? Then there's a Yom Adin for those people. In kavudim, we say during davening, you can either put Rosh Hashanah as Evet. I was a good boy this year. Hashem says, yeah, let me check. But if I'm a bad, I have a relationship with you, and I want to have a relationship with you, don't worry, he'll stick up for you. The Rebbeinu will be there. The Rebbeinu knows that you want to have a relationship with him. So you made a mistake here and there. Sometimes we make mistakes. Because the Sultan does tell Hashem, they're not interested in you. Look, I made this mistake. Hashem said, okay, made a mistake. I'm not saying it's okay to make mistakes. You know, I usually get the question, which is a terrible question. Glad none of you are asking, but just if you think you can just get it out of the way. Sometimes I get a question when I speak about this. Oh, you're one of those type of people that you love them and everything is okay. You can do whatever you want. Forgive me, stupid question. Because in real relationships, you don't say that. You know what I mean? Oh, we love each other. We can do whatever we want against each other. In real relationship, it doesn't make sense. We love each other. We want to be there for each other. We want to make sure we're actually doing the right thing the whole time. But if there's a mistake, it's not because of rebellious. And the Sultan's one and only taina is Klal Yisrael are rebelling. So if you're an Eved, you could rebel. And you have a Yom Adin. Or you're a person of Shashunah that Hashem tells you to do something and I'm doing it all the way as much as I could. And again, that's a lesson for every aspect of your Yiddishkeit. What type of relationship do you have with Eibishter? Are you doing it because you don't want to go to Gehenna? Or are you doing it because Hashem wants me to do this? By the way, not much by the way. Beautiful pshat. How do you translate? Come back to the word Tariyo. How do you translate Yom Tariyo? In fact, when the Torah says, I'm coming back to the same Gemara, when Gemara says, why do you blow shofar? He says, what do you mean, why do you blow? The Pusik says, Tikki b'chodesh shofar. Now, Tikki b'chodesh shofar is a Pusik in Tehillim. It's not even in Torah. Why don't you bring the Pusik in Torah? Because Torah is not so clear. It doesn't say Tikki. Tikki b'shofar means blow in the shofar. You're going to say Tariyo also means that. It's not. So of course it also means the shofar sound. Yeah. Write down the word Tariyo, please. Tuf reish vuv ayin. Without the hay. Could you just like scramble it up and come up with another word? And if you heard the shir last year, you're not allowed to answer. Tuf reish vuv ayin. Beautiful. That was quick. Unless you know. That was very quick. Yeah, there are 24 options if it's a 4-letter word. You went through all of them. What number was it? 18? Reos. Now, this is not me just trying to sound ultra, positive about Rosh Hashanah. Rashi says so. Rashi is the most simple pshat in the pussy. Of course, it's very, very deep. Rashi says many times that his job is to teach simple thoughts without toivus. He doesn't say it on this pussy game today. He says on different times. He says today in the Torah. Pashas Bulak, he says the word today. We actually use that pussy during the Rosh Hashanah davening. You may know Lo Hibit Oven B'Yakov Lo Ru'um B'Yisrael. You're familiar with the pussy? No? Shemal Kavim Atriyas Melech Boy. Rashi says Tariyo Lushan Rayas. A Lushan of friendship. So Rashi says. If that's the case, how do you translate now Yom Tariyo? Oh my, thank you. What is Rosh Hashanah in its essence? No, in the Torah doesn't say Yom Adin. The Gemara says because it's Rosh Hashanah, New Year, Hashem makes it in. But the Torah is called a Yom Tariyo, a day of friendship. How cool is that? Yeah. Just give you one more line, and then we'll move on. I got one more line. Right after these 30 tekias, right after the first set of tekias, we go 30. The Chazan from Misaf gets up. How does the Misaf begin? What's the first line which the Chazan says after the Tkiyas? Which Ashrei? Ashrei Huam Yodai Seriyu. Simple pshat is, how fortunate is the nation that know how to use the power of servant to break through the heavens. That's a simple pshat. Or Ashrei Huam, how fortunate is the nation Yodai Seriyu that knows how to build a relationship with Eibishter. So right after the Tkiyas, when you just hit 30, you're still like, you're wiping your eyes and doing tshuva. No, not this year. When you're like, wow, that was so beautiful. Blowing and blowing. No clue why I'm doing this. I'm just blowing and blowing away. I want to be more machmir. Like the mezuzah, as I said, you don't have 2 mezuzahs. Go and don't do that. It's okay, my basket. Lord, I shit. But today I want to show it's Yom today. Today's the day of friendship. Today I want to show Hashem, I'm not going to be yutze event. You know what I mean? I always like to say, paravin gedavin. Do you remember that line? You know, I mean, every Jew likes to be paravin gedavin. No chiyuvim, no obligation. It's not about that. It's a yom tadiyah. It's a yom tadiyah. I want to do as much as I could. To serve the Rebbeinu Shalom, I could do as much as I could. We've had mistakes over the year. But what's it come from? And I'll give an example. I'm about to say. Some people won't agree with me, especially if you're not really Hasidish. And I may agree that I'm wrong, but I still want to bring it up. I hope none of you have ever chas v'shalom daven shachris after service man tefillah. Okay? You're not allowed. I'm making fun. You're not allowed. I'm actually American. I thank Hashem that I was brought up literate. So I actually have an issue with davening late. So service man tefillah is, let's say, it's 10:47. I think it is today. No, 53. Whatever. 10:47. Guy wakes up 6 o'clock in the morning. And he feels closeness. He wants to do it properly. He learns 2 hours before davening. He goes to mikveh. He starts davening 9 o'clock. But he davens so well in every word, and the more he's in it, he slows down. After goes through the Birchas Hashachar, Christmas, Makabal, all Malchus Shemayim, like he's the best davening he's ever had. And he reaches Shemoneh Esrei at 10:49. Okay? What does the Sutton say? 10:49, you missed Osman Tzvila. Wham! Gehenna, he's going to die this year. If you're God, what would you say? I don't know. The guy was like the last 4 hours trying to build a relationship with me, talking to me, and he missed it. Now, as I said, I may be wrong with this example, because there's halacha. Halacha, you got to do Osman Tzvila. And I'm not allowed to make fun of him. Just trying to bring out a point. If that happens every day, he's wrong. But if it happened, don't you think Hashem is going to stick up for him? I think so. Suggesting. I think Hashem is like, last 4 hours, the guy's talking to me, building a relationship with me. He made a mistake. He missed it by 2 minutes. Don't worry. I believe that's why Hashem looks at us in the Yom Hadin. If the Sutton, it comes up and tells Hashem, they're rebelling, Hashem says they're not rebelling. But again, it's up to you. If you want to focus on the Yom Hadin as an Eved, then good luck. If you want to focus on your Ben, you have a relationship with Hashem, then your mitzvahs are going to be done because you want to do mitzvahs, not because you have to do mitzvahs. Get it? Okay, that was the intro to Zechronos. Having said that, we'll do this quickly. The Zechronos, whenever we start speaking about Zechronos, always the first thing is Avraham Avinu, the Akedah. Let's look at the Akedah for a few moments, okay? Akedah Yitzchak. I hope you've all graduated the elementary pshat on Akedah Yitzchak. It was not just about Hashem told Avraham, Shech Nisan, and he overcame that Nisan and he says, okay, I'll do it. Granted, it's difficult, but come on. I get questions from people all the time. We speak about Avraham Avinu's Nisyonis. His Nisyonis was so much easier. Hashem said, go Shech Nisan. Okay. It's difficult, but I'll do it. If Hashem will tell me clearly what he wants, we're so stuck because Hashem doesn't speak to us clearly. Do you agree that we have difficult Nisyonis? And I think everyone, now, it's difficult to ask this question to ladies, but everyone, if Hashem himself, you weren't hallucinating, if Hashem himself asks someone, bring your son on Mizbeach, again, I know you don't want to think that question, but I think we would all do it. Okay? I was speaking of this concept last week. Gave the shit. There was a lady sitting there, she told me her son was in Kitab Bais. How old was Kitab Bais? So this is disgusting whether he ever did it, but he still did it. The Rebbe was talking about the teaching on Kedah, talking about the Kedah Yitzchak. And he was like listening, a 6-year-old, like, no, what's the story? And the Rebbe noticed that he's like really focused. And he said, yeah, whatever. And he asked this kid, he says, like, you seem so shocked. If your father, I don't know why he did it. If Hashem would approach your father and ask him to take you on the Mizbeach, don't you think your father would also? Very smart at all. And the kid answered, yeah, he would, but my mother wouldn't. So I hear that mother said, but it's not true. Chana, Shiva, Baneha. You understand that? It was difficult, but that wasn't the Nisan. The Nisan was much deeper. So let's put him say that, Avraham Avinu was one that discovered monotheism, right? He was the one that came up with the one and only God. Up until then, there was a pagan culture and different gods. There was the sun god and the moon god and the ice cream god. It was very convenient, to have your personal Diet Dr. Pepper god, when you need a cold drink. There's many, many gods. Avraham Avinu is walking around saying, you can't be a sun god when it's set night, you know what I mean? You can't be a god. He walks around using his brain, which I think is totally lost in us nowadays, and he asked good questions, and he came to very heavy conclusions against the entire world. There must be a one and only loving God. And if that's the case, he's infinite and has no needs and no wants. And there's no such thing. We should need to give a human sacrifice for the gods as they used to do back in the days. You know, when there's a hurricane, a tsunami, they would like to bring a baby on an altar to appease the anger of the gods. He's God. Doesn't need that. He came up with this philosophy. And he started having many followers, one and only God. And then one day, you know, his chassidim in shul one morning going to say, where's the rabbi? Where's the roof? Oh, embarrassing. But rumor has it he's on the way up the mountain to shech the sun for the gods. You know, that was his campaign slogan. Don't kill the kids. God doesn't need kids. Sorry, God doesn't need human sacrifices. Here he is shechting his son for Hashem. You know, he's the hypocrite of the year. I believe his Talmidim, you know, where all his Hasidim nowadays, or then, doesn't say anything about it. We know that he was Megaya, loads of people. Where did they end up? Doesn't say clearly where they left him, but they all slowly left him. I believe this was probably a biggie when they said that's the case. He lost everything. It's in his soil. But I want to take it a step further. It's deeper than that also. When he came up with monotheism, we also know Avram Avinu kept the entire Torah before he was given. You learned that. What's the point of keeping the Torah? If it wasn't given, Hashem doesn't yet want it. What? Did Hashem teach him the Torah? How does that work? Did Hashem teach him the entire Torah? Hashem didn't even speak to him until he was 75 years old. Then he was a full-fledged, Jew already. The idea is much deeper. Torah is not a book written by God giving us do's and don'ts because, you know, it's a religion, and every religion needs do's and don'ts. So, you know, do this and don't do that. It's much deeper than that. Torah is the Eibishter, which means the more you understand who the Eibishter is, the more you understand why every seventh day you need the Shabbos. It's just so obvious that life can't run without a Shabbos. Shabbos, you may even agree. But it's more than that. Torah is so the Eibishter. The more you understand the Eibishter, the more you'll say it doesn't make sense to live a life with a sweater that's next woolen linen. I mean, how can you have a sweater, woolen linen, if you want to live on planet Earth? Does that make sense to you? Doesn't to me, but you get what I'm trying to say? Torah is the Eibishter. Avram Avinu was so close to the Eibishter, he understood what is the roots in Hashem. And it made sense what roots in Hashem is. Clear? Now listen carefully. Interesting question for you. He came up with this concept that murder is not just immoral. It's not just immoral. It's a roots in Hashem not to murder. Following? So roots in Hashem not to murder. Now Hashem tells him, I want you to murder your child. I want you to cut the depth of his problem here. He says, it's not about me, God, should I kill my child or not? Not about that. I know that you don't want me to do this. And now you're telling me to do it. I'll give you an example. My wife is on a diet. One night, she's like, not the best mood. She says, buy me a cheese Danish. It's like, you don't want to eat cheese Danish now. You know the feeling of like, why did I eat that? I didn't want to eat that. And my wife tells me, go buy cheese Danish. Tell me, should I or shouldn't I? Would you want your husband to buy you the cheese Danish when you're in a bad mood? Or he should tell you, no, you're on a diet? Buy it?
No. Yes. No, he doesn't like her.
1 second. Do you have the Avram Avinu struggled with this? I don't get. It's not about my son. I know you, the Ribono Shel Olam, so well. I know you don't want me to do this. Proof to that is Yitzhak didn't want him to do it. Yeah, he stopped him in the end. I know you so well. I know you don't want me to do this. Now you're telling me to do this. Should I do it or not do it? And by the way, his brain was his greatest asset. More than that was. His whole life was on, philosophy. And now I should put that aside? Doesn't make sense. I can't do something which doesn't make sense. Forgive me. But most women say he should go back. Nothing personal. Most men say he should, but I want to be a good husband. She doesn't want to eat it. It's good when I get the plats. But the woman says, I want it. But he's going to have to deal with it afterwards. You know what I mean? That's what you were thinking. You know, it's not fair. Not fair to him. The answer is that doesn't make sense. So here's my question. So why did Avram Avinu go? If he had that question. I know you don't want me to do this. Now you're telling me to do this. So why did he go?
He was tough to do it.
By who? By someone who I know they don't want me to do it. So that is Mesidas. Mesidas Nefesh means I'm doing it even if it doesn't make sense. If Avram Avinu to put away his brain to say I'm doing it, even if it doesn't make sense, and I'm going to have to deal with the consequences. If I buy my wife that ice cream, I'm going to have to deal with the consequences. I'm a good husband. This is what she wants now. It doesn't make sense, and I'm upset doing it. She's going to yell at me and everything. Doesn't make sense. You need it. Get it? That's what Avram Avinu did. Tremendous nisoyan. Should I do it or not do it? In other words, I want to build my relationship. Should I do the right thing? Now, last week we spoke about, should I do what I feel like doing, or should I do the right thing? Do you remember that was the question? Now the question is much deeper. Should I do what I think the right thing is? Or sometimes even if it doesn't make sense, I'm not doing what I feel like doing. Okay, I'm going to suffer from it. I even think it's a wrong thing. This is what, I'm in a relationship. This is what she wants. Get it? Well, there's a very strange medrash in Pashas told us, which you also, and I'll use that same intro as I said before, that you heard it when you were 2 years old. You never stop to ask yourself, and it just doesn't make sense unless it does. Yitzchak Avinu gave the bruchas to Yaakov. Do you remember that? He really wanted to give to Esav. But how did he manage to sneak in that he should notice it's Yaakov? Before, how didn't he see it's Yaakov? He was blind. Why was he blind? Tears. Could you say that without rolling your eyeballs? Say the story. He's 37 years old. He's lying on his bed. I'm looking like, no, he shouldn't be shechted. So he starts crying. Does that step make sense? And they start crying, and their tears amazingly fell exactly into his eyes. He wasn't wearing glasses or contact lenses, obviously, because it fell into his eyes. But you know what? It didn't blind him. 100 years later, he turned blind because of those angelic tears. Maybe angelic tears blind after 100 years. Does that make sense to you? You should be asking questions when you learn something. Man, as I said before, I can only make fun if we understand that there's depth to it. And the Torah says something. We're so used to, it's a madness. No. It's Torah. It's a message for you today. We can learn something from it. But it doesn't make sense. These questions are the most important questions. Because the question like, who created the world and all that, fine, those that they say are precocious. But we're teaching our Torah. They say, teacher, what does that mean? It's a message for us. It's a message for us. So we have another question on that parasha and told us. I'm going to come back to Rosh Hashanah. So Yaakov Avinu got the brachas. Very nice. But if you think about it, wasn't so glad. Yitzchak wanted to give Esav, and Yaakov stole it from me. So now we got the brachas. But do we need to walk around 4,500 years later with this guilty feeling? Like, okay, we got the brachas, but we stole it. Wouldn't it have been so much nicer if Yitzchak Avinu calls in Yaakov and says, Yaakov, Esav, here's the shakers. You're my child. I want to give the brachas to, and you deserve all the brachas. Wouldn't that be so much more beautiful that we get the brachas like that? But save upon him your voice instead of like stealing it. If we finally got it, there's has to be with that guilt. The answer is, if Yitzchak would have called in Yaakov like that and given him the brachas, what would we have said thousands of years later? Us, our negative, guilty, Jew. We'd say, hey, Yaakov Avinu was zeicher to the brachas, but not us. Who are we to be zeicher to these brachas? Yaakov was zoicha to them. He was a big tzaddik. Me? Nah, we don't deserve it. So we got the brachas with Yitzchak intending to give it to someone like Esau. And Yitzchak thought of giving the brachas to Esau. And we stole it, and we got it. So the Yidden have the brachas, even though we're in a situation as low as Esau. Because he wanted to give it to someone like Esau. So however guilty or whoever bad, however much you beat yourself up, however Esau you think you are, the brachas were given to someone with intention that they are Esau, and we deserve that too. Get it? I'm going to tie everything together now. Here's my question now. Why, Taka? Why are we zoiche to all those brachas, even if we don't deserve it? Even if we're like Esau? What was Taka? The answer is because 100 years prior to that, Avraham Avinu was Moshe Nefesh. And he told Hashem, I'm in this relationship, whether it makes sense or not. I'm in. Because relationships don't have to make sense. If this is what you want, I'll do it. Malachim pounced on that and said, you know what? That's a deal breaker. Let's make this pact that we are in to you no matter what, but you, the bonus are going to be in to us, whether it makes sense or not, because it's a relationship. So the Malachim did at that moment, they blinded Yitzchak 100 years later in order this bracha should come about, even if we don't deserve it. Get it? That's what the Malachim did. They made a pact, a deal. That our relationship with Eibush is not about if you do mitzvahs, you deserve it, if not, not. We're going to do things even if it doesn't make sense. Like Avraham Avinu was in this relationship, even if it didn't make sense. But we expect the Eibush in return to be in to us, even if it doesn't make sense. So Chronos, again, do you want to enter the day as a Yom Adin? Good luck. Or remember, there's this type of relationship. That we're in the relationship with the Eibishter, that type of relationship that he's going to be in with us no matter what, as long as you're in, no matter what. And the question is, what are you doing to the Eibishter, for the Eibishter, whether it makes sense or not? That's why it was all built on my shofars, which is, I don't know why I'm going shofar, it doesn't make sense. I'm doing it, that's what you told me to do. Is there anything else in your Yiddishkeit you're going to do? Because Hashem said, even if it doesn't